The winds are howling, a wild beast in the night. Desire's got its claws in them, and it's not letting go. From the shadows of the first circle, I slipped down to the second. It was a tighter, more confined space, yet the air was thick with deeper sorrow, drawing out bitter moans from every corner. There, standing like a grim overseer, was Minos. His grin was a ghastly sight, something straight out of a nightmare. Minos, the gatekeeper of this hellish place, didn't miss a beat. Each soul that stepped up confessed everything, laying their sins bare. Minos would examine each confession with a cold, calculating eye. Then, with a flick of his tail, he'd measure out their fate. The number of times his tail wrapped around him determined how far down the condemned would go. Every ill-fated soul came to him, spilling their darkest secrets. And Minos, that severe judge of sins, decided their place in the underworld. Each rap of his tail was a sentence, sending them deeper into the abyss, matching their transgressions with their new home in hell. In front of Minos, there was always a crowd, a never-ending line of lost souls waiting for their judgment. One by one they stepped up, confessed their sins, and listened to their fate before being hurled down to their grim new homes. Minos, his eyes dark and menacing, spotted me approaching. He paused his dreadful task and called out, "Hey, you, the one approaching this place of misery. Be careful how you step in here. Watch who you trust. Don't let the wide-open entrance fool you into a false sense of safety." His warning echoed through the air, a chilling reminder that in this place nothing was as it seemed. My guide stepped in, his voice firm and unwavering. "Why the outburst? Don't stand in his way, it's destined. Where will and power are one, it's been decided. Ask no more." And with that, the sorrowful wails began to echo around us. We had arrived at a place where countless lamenting voices struck my ears. The light was swallowed up by darkness. The sound that greeted us was like the roaring of a tempestuous sea torn apart by battling winds. In this stormy hell, the furious winds never rested, driving the spirits on, spinning them around and slamming them down with relentless torment. The chaos was unending, a never-ceasing storm of misery. As the souls reached the ruinous sweep, the air filled with their shrieks, laments, moans and blasphemies against the divine power in heaven. I realized that this was the fate of the carnal sinners, those whose reason was overwhelmed by lust. Like flocks of starlings in winter, carried by the wind in vast numbers, the tyrannical gusts bore these wretched souls. They were driven from side to side, above and below, with no hope of rest or even a brief reprieve from their suffering. They moved like cranes, their sorrowful cries filling the air as they flew in long, mournful lines. I watched as these spirits, wailing loudly, were swept along by their terrible fate. I turned to my guide and asked, "Who are these souls battered by the black wind?" He replied with a smirk, "The first one you see was an empress with a lot on her plate. She was so shameless in her indulgence that she made her own vice legal, just to make her dirty deeds look legit. That's Semiramis. They say she took over after her husband, Ninus, and ruled the land that's now under the Sultan. Next is Dido, who offed herself over love talk after breaking a promise to her husband's ashes. And then there's Cleopatra, the queen who let her desires rule the kingdom. Quite the lineup, huh?" I saw Helen, whose beauty brought about so much suffering, and Achilles, who fought to the end, driven by love. There were Paris and Tristan and many others whom he pointed out, all victims of love's fatal sway. Hearing my guide name these ancient dames and knights, I was overcome with pity, nearly lost in amazement. I said, "Bard, I'd like to speak with those two coming towards us, who seem so light before the wind." He replied, "Watch closely. When they draw nearer, you'll have your chance."